Joel Embiid said it best himself. This is not a rivalry. They always kick our ass, and the Sixers got their ass kicked again in an embarrassing fashion. I first off want to issue an apology for a video I posted a few days ago asking if the 76ers could get over the hump. How stupid of me thinking this team would actually do anything. I cannot believe that for even a split second, I had faith in a Joel Embiid team to make it to the conference finals. And I'm sorry. That's a horrible mistake I made as a creator. I'm learning. Now, for the Sixers, there is one positive to come out of this game, and it's that you can clearly just rebuild now. Move on. This is never going to work, and it never has worked. Just move on. Trade everyone, get what you can back, and start a new process. And it's ironic, too, because in 2012, the process started after a Game 7 loss to the Celtics, and the Sixers were done accepting mediocrity. And guess what? 11 years later, after all those draft picks and everything they went through, it's going to end with the same result, a Game 7 loss to the Celtics and more mediocrity. Let's start with Mr. Cry about the MVP himself. Maybe if you were more focused on the playoffs this whole season and didn't whine in the media the whole time about the MVP, you could have actually done something this time around. But no, you shrunk in a big moment like you always had. And this time, there's no one else to blame. There's no Ben Simmons. There's no other force. No, you suck in big moments. You are bad when it matters. And Sixers fans are done with you. I talk to my Sixer fan friends a lot, and it's they kind of want to trade you. I'm being honest. Game 7 is where legacies are made or broken, and you have a legacy of a choker and fraud and playoff shrinker, and you did not prove that wrong today. You actually made it worse. I've personally given Joel a lot of excuses myself throughout the years. I've been a big apologist of him in these moments because at times it feels like there has been legitimate excuses for playoff failures. But when it boils down to it, he is 30 years old and has never been to a conference finals. It's his fault. He's not good enough. He's not playing well enough, and he needs to improve in the playoffs, or this will be his reputation for his whole career is a guy who couldn't do it in the postseason when it mattered. You know who did step up in the moment today? The 76ers franchise owner, Jason Tatum, who I honestly owe an apology after, some of those rough quarters he had. I was calling him a fraud, I'm going to be honest, and prove me wrong. Biggest moment, legacy defining game, 51 points. That is unreal. Hats off to you. The Celtics as a team were just ready the whole time, and they fought through everything. They did get down 9 points at one point, but it didn't matter because they kept attacking on both sides of the ball. And while the Sixers, when they got down, started to fold and feel pressure, the Celtics never really felt pressure, and they just played free the whole time. And it showed because they were the team who wanted it more, and they were the team that was fighting harder. And as I'm recording, this Joel Embiid quote came out, and we're going to react to it together. Me and James, we can't win alone. That's why basketball is played 5-on-5. We need everybody to find ways to be better. Well, just look at this. The you and James in question, you had 15 points on 18 shots, and James had 9 points on 11 shots. And I'm not a statistician, but that's fucking horrible. It's your fault. Don't worry about how PJ Tucker played. Don't worry about how Tyrese Maxey played. Don't worry about Tobias Harris. Don't worry about Daniel House. You and James were the problem today and were the reason the Sixers lost. You guys were terrible. Your supporting cast was able to keep you in the game for a half, but you two guys and your failures is what lost the Sixers the series. It's your guys' fault and nobody else's. Well, Doc Rivers too. Hey, let's get into Doc Rivers too. Today, he continued to cement his legacy as one of the worst playoff choking coaches ever. Probably is the worst playoff choking coach ever. Starting off with today, the Sixers scored only 10 points in the third quarter. That's right, 10. And that's coming out of halftime, where Doc Rivers can talk to his team, make adjustments, and plan for the third quarter. And they come out of this third quarter and score 10 points, and that loses them the entire game. How are you that inept as a coach to where you can't have your guys ready to start the second half? And this isn't the first time something like this happened this series or in his career, because in the previous game, game 6, the Sixers put up 13 points in the fourth quarter of a closeout game at home. 13. So in your two most important games of the season, you have a 10-point quarter and a 13-point quarter. I can't look at anyone else but like coaching. How do you let that happen? Another aspect of the Sixers that I believe is deserving of criticism is Daryl Morey and the team not doing anything at the trade deadline to significantly improve their roster. When you have a team that feels like it can get over the hump, you need to do more than just trade for a bench player. There was plenty of guys out there who could have helped improve their team and helped them solve their issues, and they just didn't do anything. And another thing about Daryl Morey is, why does he have such a boner for former Rockets players? They lost second round picks because they tampered for Daniel House. There are plenty of players you could have got that are better than Daniel House or PJ Tucker that could have helped you in your playoff run, whether it's through the trade deadline or through free agency. I don't understand the obsession, and I don't understand the lack of doing anything during the trade deadline. All in all, this was just a disaster from front office to players to coaching, and the Sixers really should just blow it up and restart. I don't see this ever working, and I don't think they should try again. I don't think they should lie to themselves and act like it's going to work, because it never will. That's it from me for today. Thanks for watching, and peace.